Okay, so we're looking at these time markers because they're really important to signal to the other person or the people that you're speaking to when this thing was going to occur, had occurred, is going to occur. So it's really important for people to know this because they can completely lose the thread of what you're talking about if they don't have time markers and the tenses aren't correctly selected. And sometimes, there are mistakes with tenses because that's far more difficult than putting a time marker in. So a time marker is a really, really handy thing to do because with that, at least someone's got an idea, even if you mix up your tenses a little bit. And I'll give you an example of this. Earlier on, I was teaching some people and someone was telling me a whole story and I thought they were talking about something that had taken place at the weekend that's just happened. And then it transpired that the entire story was about to take place and it was for this evening. And that was completely missed because of the time markers not being there. So it's a pretty useful thing to use, and it's fairly simple. So if we think about it, if we were to start from cette semaine, we know that cette semaine is this week. So if we were to go backwards in time, we would say la semaine dernière was last week. And notice that dernière is an adjective, and adjectives tend to come after the noun. So it's going to come after the noun. So la semaine dernière, last week. And then if we want to go back another week, so the week before, so la semaine d'avant. So that the week before last, la semaine d'avant. Notice there's a little d there, d'avant. And it might be interesting for you to work out actually, what do you think? Are you thinking last week, the week before, 2 weeks before? Do you go in a certain direction when you're thinking about that? Because that might help you to sort of like connect with those time markers. And then if you think about the future, you might go off in another direction. So let's have a look. So now I'm going in a complete different direction. So let's see if this works. So aujourd'hui, today, demain, tomorrow, and then après-demain, the day after tomorrow. Same sort of thing. Ce mois-ci, this month, le mois prochain, next month, le mois d'après, the following month. So if we were to do that with la semaine prochaine, if we went backwards from there, so we would say this one would be, we'd start from here, wouldn't we? Cette semaine. Then we'd say la semaine prochaine, and then what would come after la semaine prochaine in the future? It would be la semaine d'après. Right, so this is all in relation to the present. Okay, so we've got semaine, we've got aujourd'hui, we've got ce mois-ci, we've got cette semaine. So they're all in the present. Now we're going to think about it in the past. We've got the two different directions that we can go into in the past. So 2 jours avant, 2 days before, whatever I'm talking about in the past. So 2 jours avant, 2 jours avant que j'ai appris cette nouvelle, 2 days before I found this information out, blah, blah, blah. This is a great word, underused in my opinion. La veille. It's a V-E-I, not to be confused with any other word, which I won't mention. So la veille, the day before, the day before. So la veille de mon mariage, blah, blah, blah. The day before I got married, blah, blah, blah. So we're talking the past. Ce jour-là, on that day, this is the past, yeah? On that day, blah, blah, blah. And le lendemain, the next day. Now, lots of people say le jour après, and I know that can be understood, but le lendemain is the correct term. So that's when you're talking in the past. Now, you could use it in the future, yes? 2 jours avant mon mariage, 2 days before my marriage, and if that's in the future. La veille de mon mariage, the day before my marriage, in the future. Ce jour-là doesn't really, well, ce jour-là, on that day, I will be. And then le lendemain du mariage, on va partir. So the day after the marriage, we will leave. So those work in the past and the future. And this bunch here, they're all relating back to the present. Right, okay, so that's just a bit of revision for you. Let's have a look then at them in context of some phrases. These are just taken out of your blue grammar book, by the way. So we've got some of them up here. These are the ones that we're going to be using. So then if you just sort of like think for yourself or say out loud, because you're on mute if you like, what you think the word would be in this gap. So, aujourd'hui, les enfants peuvent se coucher tard. Il n'y a pas d'école. Very easy. Of course, demain. Nous sommes le 20 mars. Something, c'est le printemps. So what would that be? Demain, again. Demain, c'est le printemps. Je me suis mariée le 13 juin. Something. It's there, isn't it? Le something. I put the gap in the wrong place. Le something, nous sommes partis en Grèce. And I'm sure you got it. Le lendemain. Yeah, so we got married on the 13th of June. The next day we left for Greece. That's the past. Ce soir, on reste à la maison, mais quelque chose, on est allé au cinéma. The past tense, so that would be hier. Noticing the tenses. Je ne révise pas something d'un examen. Je me couche tôt. So I don't revise the day before. La veille d'un examen, je me couche tôt. Je vais avoir 40 ans le 10 janvier. Something, je ferai une grande fête. We know that it's future there, so it's probably going to be the next day, which is le lendemain. Le lendemain. You can notice demain in there, so it's a way of remembering the next day in there. J'ai rencontré ma femme le 14 juillet 1981. Something. Tout le monde dansait dans la rue. On that day. So on that day would be ce jour-là with an accent. Tout le monde dansait dans la rue. All right, let's have a look at this one. Now this is matin and année. Something. Matin, je suis allée à la bibliothèque. So yesterday morning, nice and easy. So hier matin, je suis allée à la bibliothèque. Something, je travaille chez moi. So this morning, ce matin, je travaille chez moi. J'ai visité la Norvège. What do you think that might be? Probably it's past tense, so we'll probably go with l'année dernière. Notice it comes afterwards. J'ai visité la Norvège. J'irai chez le coiffeur. So I'm going to the coiffeur. So that's going to be tomorrow. Demain matin, j'irai chez le coiffeur. Je visite la France. So this is going to be an année one, isn't it? Well, I should think it's this year because it's present tense. So cette année, je visite la France. And then je visiterai l'Italie. So this is a future. So that's going to be l'année prochaine. Notice it comes afterwards because it's an adjective. Je visiterai l'Italie. All right, so that's a little whiz around those time markers, but they're really, really useful for you to think about what tense you're going to be in and where you're placing it, giving it a bit of structure, but really important for the listener to know when it is that you're talking about. And sometimes that can be really quite important.